What's up, guys and gals? My name is Splattercat, and we are here at the Nerd Castle once again playing the second mission of Space Hulk, which was just released by Full Control Games. It's a very fun game. I'm enjoying it tremendously. I haven't had a lot of time to jump online and play against actual players, but the AI campaign has been giving me a bit of a head scratcher as I've been running through it. So let's do mission number 2, Exterminate.
We have tasted victory, but this is only the beginning. The enemy will come. A counterattack is inevitable. We must stand against the tide and turn it back. At the cost of blood, at the cost of our lives, this must be done. The main hibernating cluster will soon be within our reach. Sergeant of the squad, accept your orders. One squad will be sufficient. You will be in the very midst of the enemy. Deploy your forces to meet the onslaught. Seal the entry points or drown the enemy in their own blood. May vengeance be your strength and wrath your shield.
Alright, so that's our briefing for mission number 2. Now, one of the first things you're going to notice, and I know this map is a little small, if you full screen it out I hope you can see, is that our deployment is a little spread out. That's because this mission actually has a teleportation crisis, in that when we enter the mission, every other unit that we deploy is put randomly on a deployment spot. So we have a couple different ways to win this, but we'll talk about those as we run through. We can either rush the enemy's position and take over it, or we can hold our own until they are all exterminated. There are a lot of doors, there's a lot of things that we need to be aware of here, but let's kind of pan and scan around. Our first invasion zone is going to be right here, and that leaves us with a few options in this first little bit. What we could do, theoretically, is we could put down a unit right here and put down a unit right here, hopefully, and then just have them block these two corridors. I'm against that idea. In fact, I'm very much the hang back and kind of play a defensive game type of player, which you can imagine when I play tabletop, board games, things like that, it drives people nuts because I very much turtle. That's just who I am. I played a Holy Paladin in World of Warcraft. I love plate mail healers. I love turtling. Something about driving my enemy crazy with the way that I can't be killed just really speaks to me. I think I'm going to take this spot right here. Now, we have a few new units to play with. We have Sargent Gideon, who's using I forget what that's called. It's like a giant sledgehammer. He's also got a crazy, like, energy shield. I forget what it's called. This guy, Brother Leon, is new, and he's got an autocannon. The autocannon's sort of a unique weapon. We'll talk about it in just a minute. We have Brother Valencio. Brother Valencio has a chain fist, which we'll talk about that as well. And then we've got two of our normal bolter, regular, just kind of grist-of-the-mill Marines. Our first deployment, I think, is going to be our autocannon, because I don't want him in a random spot. I want him over everybody else in the right area. So what we're going to do is we're going to deploy him right there. And it's going to randomly place one of our Terminators now. Luckily, well, kind of luckily. What is he? Okay, he's one of our regular bolter guys. I think that's actually going to work out in our favor. I don't like the positioning, but we can get him into a position that I like fairly easily. The other thing that we might consider doing here... Actually, I've already got people in both of the positions that I like. I'm really hoping it doesn't deploy anybody up here. That's the worst case scenario, is that somebody ends up there. Let's put... Oh, I suppose we can put... Ooh, I want to make sure my bolter's in the right position. So let's put a normal Marine right here. It's going to randomly place a Terminator. It looks like we got lucky with our placement once again. Very, very nice. So our Sergeant is in a good position. I like where he's at right now. He's not going to see a whole lot of combat. As I recall, using this shield... Now, there's no way for me to open the manual, I don't think, from inside the game. I've been trying to find it, and I don't think I can, but I very much wanted to open the manual and kind of read to you guys what the weapons do. I'm just trying to remember at this point. I might print it out for later. The shield forces, as I recall, the enemy to re-roll one of their attack dice when they attack him. I think it's the highest dice. And then the Warhammer right there allows him to get an extra attack dice, I think, unless I'm crossing it with the sword. But as far as I know, I think that's the right... dictation that I'm giving. Our other brother here, he's got a bolter. I think I'm going to put him over here as backup for this unit, because this guy's going to be holding down. If you look here, we've got a pretty good... Well, I mean, there's not a whole lot of ways that they can make a run on our line. Taking a look at our first turn, we only rolled 1 CP, so we're going to re-roll that. We're going to get 5. Very, very nice. I'm going to have this Marine step to here, face that way. And there is an undo button down here in the bottom right corner. As I've been playing, I found that. So if you make just a totally asinine move, which for me is fairly frequent, I make stupid moves all the time, you can actually click this and it'll undo everything you've done in the turn. So you can kind of go back. I'm more of a fan of having to Iron Man through and just live with your decisions. I know some people aren't going to be into that, and it sucks when you misclick, so I will use this if I misclick in the future, but for the time being, I'm very much going to try and keep myself from, being illegitimate. Let's talk about the Chain Fist here. If we take a look at this unit, you'll see that he's got kind of a little attachment on his fist right there. In combat, the Chain Fist doesn't really matter. It's a chainsaw attached to his fist, which is very much, its moniker comes from what it is. Now, what he can do, though, is saw his way through doors, which is a very useful ability. If you've ever sat here and tried to get through a door for a little bit while playing Space Hulk, it's kind of funny. You can just weasel your way through right there instantaneously. There's no attack die. Nothing else goes into that weapon aside from that. I'd prefer for him to be holding down the fort right here with, what's his name? Brother Noctis. Brother Noctis is a long-term survivor. With regards to my Sargent, I think I'm going to bring him down here, and just as a worst-case scenario, I'm going to have him hold this spot right here in case the enemy, as they're coming up this corridor, tries to circle around and go behind Brother Noctis. I'm going to have Gideon just stand right here, probably the entire match, and just defend. Other things that I'd like to have in place, we need to get Brother Scipio moving. That's a cool name. I don't know if he's named after Scipio Africanus, but that's a really cool historical name. It's going to take him 4 of his AP to get here, so he's not going to have anything left to get this door open. I may spend some CP to get him into the position that I want. I really don't want him to end up detached from the rest of his, detachment. Let's open the door up with one of our CPs. And I think I'll put him right here. I'm going to give him a head start on whatever spawns are going to be coming from this direction. I placed my chain gunner right here, or my autocannon soldier. I placed him here with good intentions, because if I place him in front of the door, he can instantly open it, and then the other benefit is that he can instantly step back. Now, he doesn't have enough AP to get going, but let's talk about the autocannon for just a moment. The autocannon is a really unique weapon, but it also comes with some downsides. The autocannon gets to roll 3 attack dice, which means you have 3 dice to score a 6. Actually, I believe it's a 5 or a 6 on Overwatch, so you have 3 dice to land a 5 or a 6, meaning he very rarely misses when he's overwatching a direction. He can wipe out an entire hallway. Now, on the downside, he's only got 10 rounds. He can do 10 bursts, and that kind of sucks. He can reload one time, so he comes with 20 rounds total. But there's another downside. After a couple of turns of firing, he gets a debuff where his gun catches fire. And what that means is, I really don't know how to get it to go away. I've actually gone a couple turns. I've played with it trying to get the fire debuff to go away. I don't think it does. I think after a certain point, it's just sort of permanent. And you can correct me if I'm wrong down below. I absolutely am open to being corrected. But the problem with that is once the gun has caught fire, or the barrel becomes red, it doesn't catch fire, the barrel starts to red out. Once the barrel starts to heat up, if you roll 3 of the same dice, so if you get like a 5, and a 5, it blows up and it kills the trooper. So he's kind of a walking time bomb with regards to defending yourself. Now, there's a very low chance of that happening. It's like a 1 in, it's like a 1 in 216 or something along those lines, if I'm doing math correctly in my head really quickly. And once again, correct me if I'm wrong. Math is not my strong point. You'd think it would be, given my current coursework in the old college. But once again, back of the envelope calculation, 1 in 216, I think, is the chance that he'll blow up every single time he fires. But in any case, you want to put him in a spot where he can just hold and suppress. That all taken care of, I think we're about ready for our first turn. We do need to get... Oh, that door's already out of the way. Good. Well, I think it is. I don't know if they can close it off, but I'll check it and make sure in just a minute. Let's go ahead and end the turn, and Genestealers are going to make a move, and we're going to see where these filthy Xenos end up. Looks like we've got a little group from right there. A little tiny group right there, but not a whole lot. The downside to what I'm doing right here is that Genestealers, it looks like he's going to have about 3 tries to shoot anybody. I'm going to step him back so that he gets 4 tries to shoot anybody that comes down that hallway. I'd like him to have as much space as possible so that he has a little bit of extra safety. We're going to start with the Overwatch spree here, because defense missions like this, where you really don't have to seek and destroy, you can make them more interesting by sallying out of your defended position, but why do that if you can live safely? We managed to get ourselves 6 CP on this turn, which is fairly incredible. I'll probably use it to saw open this door in the future. For now, though, let's just get everybody into position that I want in position. We can win this mission in another way, too, by getting to the entry areas. So that's these little red spots. If we can get positioned, all of our troops within 6 squares of these entry spots, we win. But that's a little bit more work. I gave it a try in one of my other playthroughs. It didn't go so well. I ended up with my team getting split in half. My lines faltered because I was fighting on multiple fronts while still trying to remain variable and move. I was trying to remain fluid, and it just ended up turning into backwash. I was looking for flowing like water and ended up with backwash. So we'll step backwards now. And I was semi-tempted to use a little bit of extra CP to get him into position as well. If I could have him fall back into a corner with this guy, so he'll take the center and watch there. And then this unit will stand in the corner right here, so he gets 2 free shots if anything makes it past the autocannon fire. Or if this guy blows up, he's ready to step into this position and take over his job. Just a backup plan, basically. Just a backup plan. But I think that's what we're going to instate, all things considered. Everybody else looks like they're pretty much ready to roll. Let's get this door sawed through. So we're going to step him into position there. And then we're going to use his chain fist to annihilate this nasty door that's all up in the way. Doors are the natural... They don't really publish this too much, but doors are the natural enemy of all Space Marines. If you don't have LOS, it's anybody's guess whether you're going to survive or not. So make sure you always have line of sight. I'm going to leave an extra AP in case this guy needs to clear a gun jam. Realistically, I don't think that this Xeno is going to make it all the way up in here and cause any problems in such a limited amount of time. But that extra CP is just going to safeguard us in case we have to clear a jam. I think everybody's ready to go. I'm not going to put the autocannon guy on... Yeah, Brother Leon doesn't need to be on Overwatch just yet. These Genestealers need to get through this door. They need to come all the way down here. So we've got at least 2 turns before we actually clash. And I just love this camera right here. I love the way that it just shows you the vision of the Space Marine. It makes the whole thing better. I think it probably could have been utilized to greater effect, but it's still cool. It's a nice throwback to the SNES game, or actually was it an SNES game? I don't even remember at this point. My memory is completely failing me. It might have just been like an Amiga game or like a original PC game. I don't remember, actually. That's kind of embarrassing. That's semi-embarrassing. I'll probably Google it in between episodes just to make sure I don't sound like an idiot any further. Let's take our turn. We rolled 5 CP, so we're actually flush with CP for right now. I'm going to get him the hell out of the way. It's going to cost me a little bit of extra CP, but it will allow Brother Leon to step backwards and then guard this hallway. Now, this mission's a bit of a softball. In fact, I think this mission is easier than the first mission because all you really have to do is hold a position in this game. Once you identify the tangible choke points, which are here, and to a lesser extent right here. I mean, they can swing through here. You'll still get a free shot on them. And while they're going all the way around to here, I would shift this unit forward and go back to back with this unit facing that way. So this is pretty much an iron-tight choke point as well. There might be an achievement for doing the other objective. I don't know. I think everybody's about ready to roll. Brother Valencio is looking pretty full on AP, so we'll put him on Overwatch 2 in the off chance that anything rushes this room, which I don't see happening. If this Xeno makes it through like 5 squares of auto bolter fire, he deserves the kill. I'll let him have it. With the 3 remaining CP, I'm going to leave those for weapon jams, and let's let the Genestealers make their move. So there's the first burst of fire right there, and 1 lobe-headed lug down. And they're beginning to pile up in this hallway. They managed to get the door open there. I think our autocannon troop will make really quick work of him, though. You'll see how effective he is in just a moment. I've never had an autocannon troop blow up on me yet, and I've played this mission a couple times. We only got 1 CP, so I'm going to re-roll it. We got 4. Very nice. Let's first and foremost put him on Overwatch. So there it is. He's already guarding his little corridor. And then we're going to turn this unit around and get him into position to where in the next turn he can overwatch and guard these 2 squares in case anything by some strange miracle of the dice makes a run on us. I don't foresee it happening, but it could. Whenever there's dice involved, I was going to say you can't be too sure whenever dice are involved, so that's why made like that crazy kind of my brain stopped functioning sound. Made it sound like I was potentially drooling on myself instead of speaking properly. I'm going to, let's just overwatch him in the greater cause of keeping our autocannon guy safe. If he blows up, I hope he doesn't kill anything on his flanks. I don't think he will, but he might. And you're about to see how effective autocannons are. So there's the first give right there. He cut him in half. He rolled a 1, a 6, and a 1, and he kills on a 5+. So it's very, very difficult to run past an autocannon. There's a 5, a 5, and a 5. Oh, I think it's at, never mind, it's not 555, it's if he gets 6, 6, and 6, he blows himself up. He rolled triples right there, so as you can see, it does happen. Occasionally you are going to run the gambit and roll triples, but it wasn't 6, 6, and 6. I was quoted improperly earlier on, or I quoted the rulebook improperly. Instead of a 5, 5, and a 5, you need that 6, 6, and a 6. We generate a 5 CP that turn, which leaves us with no space with which to re-roll. I'm going to have him continue to overwatch. He's going to be able to hold down this hallway fairly effectively. You guys will be surprised. He's pretty much going to butcher everything that comes down this way. I've played around with putting him in this hallway, and he works equally as well, although to a lesser extent, because these guys who branch off in the side tend to make a little bit better of a run at you, which is why I prefer just to keep the less valuable General Marines right here. Our Sergeant's not going to be doing much this mission. He's just here in the really, really off chance that the AI decides to turn this corner, which I've never seen them do yet. I think we're pretty much good to go. We're going to put everybody on Overwatch. And like I said, this isn't an incredibly eventful mission because you can really auto-watch your way through it or Overwatch your way through it. It's not difficult. Now, some of the things I've heard said about this game, we'll clear this up right now. I've heard some people saying that the game is like XCOM in that it removes all the strategy and then just tries to remain turn-based and that the game is outdated, things of that nature. And really, those complaints, I feel like you're leveling them at a board game that's like 30 years old. This game has been around for a long, long time, and while it doesn't have cover and things of that nature, the game still does a very good job at forcing you to hold choke points and playing a little bit strategically. What you're not going to find in games like XCOM is it's pretty rare that you get locked down in corridors, and while I agree that strategy games have moved forward and have more advanced concepts than what you're going to see in Space Hulk, at the same time, I don't think that makes Space Hulk any less valid. It's definitely a classic game. And so, you know, I figured I'd rally to the defense of Space Hulk here for just a moment. I've been reading a lot of forums, and as anybody that spends time on the internet knows, reading forums is just a horrible idea. It's a great way to make yourself feel sad. Like, oh, you don't like the things that I like. That makes me upset. We rolled 6 CP again. Our CP dice are ridiculously hot in this game. I'm not even going to make a push to try and take these control points, to be honest. As you can see here, that is overwhelming force, and I would prefer to avoid any ridiculous accidents. I may try and put the Sergeant into combat just to see if he can get anything done so that I'm not sitting here overwatching every turn. So let's have him advance with his truncheon and his riot shield and see what he can accomplish. We'll end the turn here for just a moment. I don't think we've got 3 Xenos right... Oh, 4 Xenos right there. Okay. Hopefully they'll be able to lay him out. No shots right there, but they're going to get him as he turns the corner. Now, one thing I have noticed is that the cameras don't appear in the top right corner. I wish you could select a unit while it was doing these cinematics and actually see it from first person while they're butchering the Xenos. Unfortunately, it's not an option. Maybe they'll add it later on. And as always, what you will find with any Warhammer 40k game is that Games Workshop has their franchising and they have their merchandising down to just an absolute perfect march, and I think you're going to start to see just like different skins for Marines. I'm really looking forward to possibly a Salamander skin. I've never been a Space Marines player, but I do have a few figurines. I have an Ultramarines army, and I've also got a Salamanders army that I started making because I am a big fan of the Salamanders. I love their lore. I love that they come from like a ridiculous forge planet. I just think they're really cool. When it comes to Orcs, I like Orcs quite a bit. I don't get to play 40k as much as I would like. I used to frequent a gaming shop that actually had giant tables for 40k. They were pretty impressive, actually. I think it's going to take us the remainder of the AP to march him into place. I'll probably just put him right here and maybe see if we can bait somebody along so that we can play with the sledgehammer and kind of see what it does, or the power hammer. Almost everything in 40k is power this, power that. I think we're going to hit a lot harder from this direction than expected. He's got to reload. Now, what you'll see is that takes all of his AP. God, we just keep doing amazing on the CP rolls. So he's going to reload. That cost him all of his AP, but because we have extra CP, I can still overwatch him. We're going to overwatch these guys right here and really, really, really hope that these guys don't make it through this line. I don't think they will. It would take a sheer miracle of dice rolls for that to occur. And if they manage to pull it off, we would have to accept the results in the interest of not being a sour grape. We'll get these guys all nice and overwatched out. I could branch this guy out maybe and have him move to here, but something just feels like the buddy system. Space Marines, they don't seem like they're warm and cuddly, but I like to function and they like to function by the buddy system. I don't like to leave anybody overextended and left out in the dirt because then I can't save them. Now that everybody's all overwatched up again, we'll let the Genestealers take their move. God, there are so many coming down this hallway. I do get the feeling that my autocannon 2, 1, and 4 there, and he sustained a kill on a 4+. There's a few more down. We're not even out of the 20s yet, though, in terms of enemy density. And that is going to leave me in a bit of a precarious situation. My autocannon is going to run out of ammo pretty soon. I think he's fired 4 shots in this round. The sound tends to glitch out with the autocannon. I don't know why that is. He is doing a pretty good job at butchering Xenos, though. Once they're all out and done, I think we just need to be careful with our CP, and we should be able to withstand this assault on this front.
My weapon has failed me.
God, his weapon has failed him, unfortunately. Hopefully somebody will make the shot. There it is. And our sound has decided to come back in. That's one of the weird bugs that I've encountered with this game. Sometimes the sound just drops. I wish the game also had background music. I understand what the developers were doing when they decided to go for this silent treatment. Unfortunately, with the bug that I'm getting where the sound turns on and off randomly, ooh, we rolled 1 CP. Let's re-roll that. Got back up to a 5. I'll accept that a lot more readily than anything else. I'm a bit tempted to bring this sergeant up here and have him stand in the room and try and butcher anything in melee that makes a run. Our autocannon, yeah, he's almost out of ammo in the next turn. There's 4 or 5 Xenos there. In the next turn, we're going to have him step to the side, and then everything else is going to fall on Brother Scipio. And if Brother Scipio falters, that's going to be game over for us. So I think I'm going to leave the sergeant here so that he can displace to here if he really, really needs to. I'm also going to consider, well, not just yet, but if anything else goes wrong, I'm going to step him to the side, we'll chainsaw this door open, and then we'll continue overwatching this direction so that if we really have to, we can go back to back right here, Army of 2 style, and just hope for the best result. We've only got 16 Genestealers remaining. I don't think we're going to get butchered. I foresee a victory here. It's starting to get that lovely piquant aroma of victory. Our strategy is absolutely rock tight, I should think. Rock solid. Watertight, water solid, whatever you want to call it. Water solid, it doesn't translate quite as well. Rock tight, water solid, switching things around. I've got to put him on Overwatch too, and I tend to get carried away talking, but I don't like how the sound cuts out, and I wish there was a little bit of background music. Maybe something heroic, like something Last Standy, where you know everybody's gonna die, like it would play in a movie, like the Three Musketeers, or the, what was the Man in the Iron Mask, where they're charging down the hallway. I didn't really enjoy that movie too much, but you see there, the autocannon has glitched out the sound again. No idea what causes that, but it's happened consistently. Every mission that I've had an autocannon in, for whatever reason, the game does not like the autocannon sound effects. So yeah, he's out of ammo and they're now rushing this hallway. We're going to have to get our other Space Marine into position as rapidly as possible. Hopefully he can hold down the fort. The range is a bit of a problem. If he misses the first few shots, we could find ourselves in a nasty spot. His bolter has failed him. Lovely. He unjams it by spending a CP. And they're doing a pretty good job of holding down the fort right here. I definitely don't have a lot of complaints. Okay, good. Let's consider. We generated 3 CP. Let's gamble. Let's dance with the devil. We danced with the devil and we succeeded, so we ended up with 6 CP. Now, the only thing we can really do right now is use this guy as a meat shield. So what we want to do is we're going to put him right here. And hopefully, if he gets into melee, he'll hold down the fort and he'll be alright. What we want to do now is put this unit right here, and we're going to spend CP to get him into Overwatch as rapidly as possible. So there we go. He's getting himself all situated. I've always loved the emblems that the Space Marines use. Oh, with his free hit that he got when he turned the corner. You always get that free attack of opportunity on line of sight. And he managed to kill one off with it. Well done, Brother Scipio. Commendations are in order. Your gene scene has been judged and found to be worthy. Let's put... yeah, we're just going to keep Noctis. And are they coming down this way? They are. Because we're approaching the end of the... oh, let's undo that. I just made a mistake. There we go. Alright, so that's the undo. Luckily, I think you only get 1 undo per turn, so you can only undo 1 action. I accidentally moved him, but that's what I'm talking about. The undo is kind of nice. I try not to use it too much because it's a little bit of a cheeseball tactic, and I'm not completely sure that it would fly like in a gaming setting. Like if you were actually playing at a tabletop meeting, I'm pretty sure people would bitch and moan about that. I'm fairly positive they'd be in the realm of upset if you tried to pull that. I'm going to have him actually Overwatch on this turn. Brother Valencio hasn't gotten a whole lot of the old bang bang time in, and, you know, every Space Marine likes to get his bang on every now and again. He's going to fire a few worthless shots at the crowd in here, and then we're going to have him overwatch. I think I'm going to move him down to this corridor in just a minute, just to like play around and make sure there's a little bit more movement than expected. The last time I got my sergeant into a fight, even with the shield, he still got himself just gibbed horribly. He got torn a new one. It was downright embarrassing. And it looks like Scipio is going to be able to hold that down. He's only got 2 Genestealers to deal with, so it'll be fine. He's unjammed his bolter. And there's the final kill. So I'm willing to bet we're not going to see a whole lot more out of that region. One of the indicators I did want to talk to you guys about that I missed in the last episode was the fact that, oh god, I love that action camera. For whatever, sometimes action cameras are done terribly. I'll freely admit that right now. There are certain games where the action camera just drives me nuts and I turn it off instantly if they have the option. But another thing that I wanted to talk about, aside from how well the action camera is done, ooh, 6 CP again. I need to go to a casino. I need to go play me some dice. But if you see like a circular indicator on top of these semicircles right here, occasionally these will be replaced by a full circle. It means they're going to spawn something there in the next turn. Just something to be aware of if you didn't know about it. I'm going to put him right there. We're going to use a little bit of extra CP just to get him situated. Ooh, he stepped on the Genestealer, popped him like a bug. Popped him like a rather nasty, rotund-ended bug. Alright, we'll move him there. We're going to keep him on Overwatch. And this mission, I wasn't too agreeable with this mission when I first played it. Any mission, I think, in this game that you beat on your first playthrough, you're either exceptionally talented, which is a possibility. I play this game like a blind kid in the rain. It's just, I play horribly, so I tend to fail my first try, but I beat this one on the first go. And usually, to me, that's an indicator of the fact that maybe the mission's set up with a little bit too many Overwatch points. I'm willing to bet that some of the later missions are going to get really nasty, though. In fact, a few of the tutorial missions tended to be kind of shady. I played one of the tutorial missions in which you have 2 units and one's been isolated. He's like way off in a corner. And you've actually got to run a beacon to him so he can teleport out. And that was a very interesting mission because you had to move. You had no choice. It was move or get fragged. Looks like, okay, nothing coming down this way, so nothing really to worry about on this front. They may be trying to hit us hard from here, though, so I'm going to put Scipio on Overwatch. He's good to go. We'll put him on defense just in case. I don't think they can move that far. They only have 6 AP, the Genestealers do, that is. Nothing's even spawned over here. But in case they do and they make a big run for it, we'll go ahead and pop these guys into Overwatch. And let's just bypass these last couple turns because we're going to be able to just butcher these things. Overwatch is immensely powerful. It is in the board game as well, but getting into the position to properly use Overwatch is really the main hanging point that I think a lot of new players struggle with Space Hulk, especially younger players. I've played Space Hulk on a couple of different occasions, but at the same time, not too many times. So it's tough for me to, talk about the Space Hulk community in general because I've never actually been part of it. I've been a stand-in on a couple occasions. I've played 40K a bit more than I've played Space Hulk, but in many cases, it suffers from many of the same syndromes that Warhammer 40K does, in the terms of it's all about conflict resolution and limiting yourself to as few dice rolls as possible while forcing your enemy to make as many dice rolls as possible. Let's get Scipio all set up to finish up this combat. There's only 3 Genestealers left, and that's them right there. So now that he's Overwatched, we're just going to pass the turn, and this should end up the mission. Down he goes. Down he goes. God, like shooting nasty pink mutated fish in a barrel. And down he goes, and that's going to be our last Genestealer, which puts us right at the perfect point for a good victory.
And the way is open for us to press the assault. Victory is yours this day.
Alright guys, so I've had a quicker completion time on this when I bum rushed it and I tried to take the doors. It only took like 14 minutes for me to bum rush it, but 34 kills, no slouch right there. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. This has been mission number 2, Extermination, for Space Hulk, the 2013 remake, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. My name is Splattercat, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care out there, everybody.